All right, we're going to reset and talk with our next guest, a Chicago photographer who needs no introduction, but we'll introduce him anyways. Mr. Timothy Hiatt joins us here on Weekend at Gabe's. One of my favorite guests who would always come up and visit me at Loyola. I seen him at Lollapalooza 2019. He was out there grabbing great shots of Janelle Monáe. Your set of Janelle Monáe, like your photography set, the deck is phenomenal. Everything you took of her performance, although she did a lot of the heavy lifting by being gorgeous and awesome herself, but you yourself were able to capture that.
Yeah, you got to get up pretty early in the morning to fuck up shots of her.
No, you did a great job of not fucking up. You did a great job.
For once in my life.
Doing your job is key, but you did your job phenomenally. Like I don't know where those pictures live, and I remember seeing them online on your Instagram. So maybe people just go in there and try to find them. But
it's all there, right there for you.
Exactly. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. It was interesting listening to you earlier talking about how you got your second shot today. I get my first one on Thursday. And all of the symptoms you describe pretty much describes my daily life. It's just little aches and pains. Feel like you're hungover most of the time. And I don't think it'll be anything new for me.
Seems right up the alley.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, it's been like that for a year. And here's what I thought about. This is one of those moments. This evening, I went to the dentist before today, and I was talking with my dentist, and she was like, "I can't really wait for the summer to start, and something to look forward to." And I was like, it's interesting that we're like racing to get to this moment of the vaccine being available and getting shot, and it's like kind of like, now what?
Yeah, exactly.
What's the next thing? Like, you're just waiting for people to finally do it so that we all can come back, or do we just? Since I'm now bulletproof and immune to everything except for 50% of the vaccine, do I just now strut my shit out there in the world? I don't know if I wait for everyone or should I just go it alone. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so things are going to get restarted again. Does that mean I actually have to put on pants now?
That doesn't sound appealing to anyone.
Yeah, no.
I probably would. I probably would keep on your pants, as that. I don't think the vaccine does anything to support that, but.
No one supports me not wearing pants.
Speaking of returning to the day jobs, I saw on Dude 312's website today that Riot Fest is confirmed back this year. And after doing a little bit of digging on you, Timothy, I found that's your favorite festival to go and shoot.
That is my favorite festival. Yeah, and I hadn't heard the official go-ahead yet, but no, that's great if it actually happens. Yeah, that's... I'm one of the house shooters for that, so it's just a fantastic 3 days of, rock and roll, and depending on the weather, either very wet or very hot people.
Do you think I'm pretty sure you have your own opinion about this, but like, where we talked a little bit about this earlier today, like as far as coming back, like, do you foresee people doing it because like the cost ratio of people attending that? I mean, I know you're not like in that business, but I know you've been around it enough to kind of see how promoters and people who put these things on behave. So what is your take, or what is your forecast for this summer as far as like returning to events?
I think it depends on the size of the event and how much capacity they allow. Because if it's full capacity, and I mean, if by the time Riot Fest happens, if they're allowing full capacity, I think it will be packed. I think it might be one of the only things, or one of the first things that happens when things kind of get back into some form of normalcy. And, people are just desperate to go out and do stuff like that again. And so I think whichever opens first, and no matter what really opens, I think there will be people flocking to it. Whether it be an event like that or, like Sox games or Sox or Cubs, even if they let them in at, 30% capacity, there'll be a waiting list for people to get in on that. And, and they'll be so happy that they'll pay $80 for a beer.
Is that the going rate these days?
It probably will be.
I was joking saying 20, but that might be even a
Yeah,
little.
no, it's outdated, man. They're doing at least 30 at the ballparks these days.
Adorable.
Oh,
That's just adorable.
I can't do it. Oh, you've obviously you've shot so many iconic figures, and we've spoken about this in separate interviews. Especially with like Kiss being one of your favorite stories to share. Sure. During this time of not having shows, you kind of adopted a new style of photography. Talk a little bit about that. You talked about this on your social media of going back into film, which is something that most photographers have distanced themselves from, but you yourself are going back into it. Why did you decide to make that choice?
Well, because I thought, in the midst of a pandemic with no jobs lined up and none on the foreseeable future, the smart thing would be to sink a bunch of money getting back into film. Yeah, I'm not a bright person.
It's like people who went in early on Bitcoin. Who knew, right?
Exactly. Yeah, where was I when that all was going down? No, it was just a way to keep myself interested in photography. Not that I wasn't beforehand, but kind of just keep the creative juices flowing and get back, because I started out, I learned how to shoot doing film, and yeah, most people today don't use film because most of the people have never shot on film.
Right.
We've just lived in a world so long where it wasn't a thing, and digital's easy, and you pop your shots in a minute and a half later, you post them for all your friends to see, and that takes away, I think, from just the joy of creating and the way it takes you back to fundamentals, because you can't just fire off 80 shots hoping to get one good one. You have to plan it, and you have to make sure everything is there, because you've got maybe 12 shots on a roll, and rolls ain't cheap.
No, they are not. I was telling you before that, like we talked about this, but we'll get into it in a second. But like the printing paper is expensive, the rolls are expensive. If you don't have a dark room, creating one could be expensive. So there's all these additional costs that coincide with the experience of shooting. So it's not like you just pull out a roll and like I'm off and running. I mean, I guess you could pay someone to print it, but depending on like how much control over the image and the lighting and the contrast that you as an artist want to control, that you probably don't want to put that in someone else's hands. Right. But it could be really, really expensive, Timothy.
Yeah, it can be, and a lot of the cost comes from, if you send your roll of film out to get it developed by someone else, that's where a lot of the cost comes in. Because when I first got back into it, I shot off 2 rolls.
Yeah, I remember.
And sent them off to be processed and get them scanned. And 2 rolls cost me $42 to get printed and scanned. And that's when I said, no, I'll do it myself from now on.
Smart man.
A lot of artists say like getting back to the roots of the craft, like people I know who work in graphic design, writers who write on their phone, say like getting back to that original like craft of writing on paper or even painting in person type thing is like almost a holy experience, like getting back to your roots. Do you feel that way? Have you had any epiphanies with like coming back to film, or is it just something you've been doing?
Well, the epiphany I had when I came back is I'm still not that good, but I have a lot to relearn about everything. And I mean, a lot of people will say I wasn't good in the first place. So there's that. No, but I agree. It's all about getting back to something that makes you feel, I guess, emotional about what you do again. Because, if you're just, like I say, if you're just firing off 1,000 shots to get one good one, you're just kind of being a machine, and you're not actually taking the time to go through the process and remember, what it is that drew you to that in the first place. So I think that's a lot of the reason for a current throwback to those days of shooting your film. It's basically the same thing as the vinyl resurgence. because it gives you that tactile feel. You have something that's not going to go away if your hard drive crashes. You have something that you can do if the power goes out.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about the new photography book, Muses, that you just dropped.
If you must.
Let's get some book sales up for you, Timothy. So
I have no problem with that.
All right. It looks like this. What's the timeline as far as like these photographs? I think I see they're as early as 2009.
Yeah.
Still current. So how did you? I think there's probably about like maybe 20, 30, almost 20, 30 shots in the book.
There are 60, I believe.
Okay. And so how did you narrow down? Because I'm pretty sure you have thousands of photos that you've taken over your lifetime. How did you narrow down, or how did you narrow down to decide what time period that you wanted to focus on?
I pretty much wanted to cover just basically everybody that I've shot with. There were only, I think, 2 people that I've ever shot with in that form that weren't in the book. But yeah, it dates all the way back to 2009 and goes up to as recently as just a month or 2 ago. So, and picking them out was fairly easy because since they do date back that far, I've lived with them for, at least 10 years, some of them, and I've known, which ones I've liked throughout the whole process. And it was always kind of in the back of my mind to maybe do something like this at some point. And then, when I found myself with a bunch of free time on my hands recently, I figured, why not? And it was going through, the hard part was when I had to go through shots of people that I've shot with many times, because there's some people I've only shot with like 2 or 3 times. And there's some people in there that I've shot with, 8, 9 times. And the hard part was going through those that I've shot with so many times and getting, representative shots from their sessions.
Right.
I could easily do a book just alone on, your 1 or 2 of those people.
Yeah. Is there any subject or artist that you work with that you're just like, you just have great chemistry with, that you guys just seem to bring out the best in each other? They look great. You're getting great shots. Is there someone that just stands out? Not necessarily from the book, but just in general.
Yeah. A lot of, most of the people in the book, if not all of the people in the book, I've had just nothing but wonderful experiences with. And I feel that they all bring something out in me that I hopefully can capture through them, because I try to set up, when I have an idea for something, I will, basically tailor that idea to a certain person, because I know what they'll do, what they're capable of, and what's going to work best for them, in my opinion. So I know that if I have an idea and hey, something, I'll think of that and say, okay, well, Anna's going to be great for that. Or, or just something else, Jenny's going to be great for, or,
right,
Paul's going to be great for, and just work from there. So I'm not one of those that tries to shoot with as many people as possible just to say I've shot with a whole bunch of girls, and, because, there are tons of people like that out there, and I prefer to work closely with a very select few of people and, bring out the best in each of us.
Yeah, absolutely. My favorite is the Jenny, where she's like flicking the cards at the camera.
Oh yeah,
that's a classic. That's a classic for sure.
You can't lose.
I think that might have actually been our first session together.
Really?
Yeah.
It's so funny. I visited this exhibit in LA a year and a half ago, and it was all hip hop photos. But what they did in the exhibit was they showed you like the whole, like the film roll, and they had the great iconic photo of Biggie with the crown. But then there were also these like weird, goofy shots that they took. And it was like the first time I had sort of seen him in legend or lore smiling. So I thought what separated your work from sort of other photographers I've seen are these portraits are really thoughtful. They really have this sort of 3-dimensional nature to them. How do you maintain that over the course of, like, you're shooting with some of these people like 9 times? How do you find that energy? Is it that emotional connection that you were talking about earlier?
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's the trust that we've built up because, they know that I'm not going to make them look like idiots. And, I know that they're going to, deliver, a great performance. And it really is kind of a performance. That's the way I look at it. That's why I work a lot with, actors instead of, stereotypical models, because I know that they're going to bring out something, that I may not have thought of, even though I came up with an idea, they're going to add to that. And it's just that trust that's built up, over the years and over many times working, that keeps it fresh and keeps it, interesting, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've grown like more during this downtime. I've just grown more like I've bought all these like Chicago photography books and just looking at different photography, and there's something about it almost feels like with the world slowing down, it feels like it's giving us time to study and look at things that we often don't look at because we have the time now to stop and look around and spend a little bit more additional time at art and culture, because where else are we going to go? It's like,
it's a good reset button.
Yeah. So I kind of feel like your book is coming at the perfect time when people have a time to just sort of, sit and think about what the artist is telling you. I mean, now the museums are starting to pick back up and bring people back, but still, I think we're a long way away from full capacity of being close to each other. But these kind of are like these great opportunities for people to reach into art and have it and spend time with it, but I haven't feel like they're putting their health in jeopardy, So
and this is something you don't have to leave the house for. You can sit on your couch, look through it.
Yep. But
wow, I could have done better than that, but
sorry. I was gonna say, is there anybody like a fish that got away that you'd really like to shoot that maybe the schedules didn't work out or something like that?
No, not yet. No, pretty much been very lucky of meeting great people and working with them.
And then another question: do you feel like you get more work on the portrait side of things now that sort of COVID-19 has affected concerts? And do you miss concerts? And are you looking to get back? Like, are you excited about Riot Fest, or is it just?
I'm very excited about Riot Fest. I had kind of stepped back from the music photography a bit because it's just the way the industry is going, and dealing with publicists and the likes can sometimes be a pain in the ass. But now, I would. I cannot wait to actually get back and elbow people in the photo pit.
It's the trenches out there, man.
That's right, man. It's dog eat dog, baby.
Exactly. The new book is Muses from our guest Timothy Hiatt. How can people go out there and buy it and put it into their libraries and actually look at it before they
can go to my website, timothyhiatt.com, and click on the link.
There's two separate versions, right? There's the print, and then you can get either the print or the PDF or the digital.
No, it's just only available in print as of now.
Oh, okay. Oh,
you can get it in hardback or paperback.
Oh, there you go. That was the contrast between the two. That's right. Yeah. There you go. So go put it in your life. It's a fantastic experience. There's so much to dive into, and it's just really great art to look at from one of the best photographers out in the city. And I'll own that. Even if you're the detractors say otherwise, I will die on that hill for you, Timothy. I'll let you know that.
That's why I love you, baby.
If you love me, you would have put me in your book, but I'll wait for the next one.
Well, actually, no, you're the one that got away. You just keep turning it down.
Your request must have got lost in the email. I understand now.
Yeah, I know. I think it all comes back to that not wearing pants thing. I don't know.
Look, I'm trying to be as attractive as those people in your photographs. It's just taking a little bit longer, but maybe in a year or two, I'll be ready.
You're a gorgeous man. Look, like I tell people that say, "Can you make me look good?" I always tell them, "Hey, you could have it a lot worse. You could look like me. So shut up."
Well, there you have it. Tell people where they can follow you on these social medias aside from your great humor.
Instagram is Timothy_Hiatt, and Facebook is Timothy.Hiatt, I believe. I haven't logged in for a while, but yeah, that's where I'm at.
All right, sounds good.
Nice one.
I appreciate you joining us and spending time with us this
Thank you so
evening.
much for having me.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. Timothy Hiatt joining us here on Weekend at Gabe's. Go get the new book. It's Muses. It's fantastic. Me and Sam have had a chance to look at it. It's amazing.
Oh man, it's a beautiful book too. You know, we had a peek at the PDF today, but man, to have it in your hands. I have friends who do photography books. It's a whole different experience. So definitely go get that. I believe on his website you can request a signed copy too, which is absolutely something you should do. He's an amazing guy.
I already told Timothy that I am going to use my Biden bucks to buy his book.
Word.
So it's because you have to support people who support you.
Yeah, you got to support. That's reciprocation, not reflection, man.
Exactly.